As you've probably noticed up to now, I love trying to find original parts and to get them to find their place on the tractors. So this is an old lift quadrant lever, and I'm looking at this here, and this is for acting as a kind of a stop for your lift lever. So if you were ploughing, or if you only wanted to, if you didn't want to have an implement working on draft control too high or too low, you could set that. So this is missing from my Ferguson 20 diesel. So I'm going to remove that, I'm going to remove that, I'm going to try and remove this as best as I can. I have a feeling the threads are going to be fairly sticky, but I'll take my time. If I think it's going to shear, I'll leave it where it is, and this part might be good for someone else. I want to have a look at this as well. There seems to be another little stop, so threads look very worn in that. But take it apart, spray it down, penetrating oil, try and get it apart, and try and reuse and repurpose this little part here. Much to my surprise, by hand so far, that is unscrewing. So what I might do, because there's a bit of paint and stuff in the end, I might screw that back tight and either run a die. I might try and run a die down there. If it's UNF, I have the die for it. Gee, I'm very surprised at that. And these two bolts came off easy as well. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this came off a 1949 TEA 6-volt petrol Ferguson 20 that was converted to CVO, because we bought that, I think, in 1998 for £50 with a Ferguson mowing bar. The head was cracked. We swapped the mowing bar for a head, and that was the start of my fascination with engines, especially the old ones. So, history lesson aside, I'm going to get the die and just tidy up them last few threads there rather than doing any damage. I managed to find a little place on it there that takes a flat kind of a head, a square nut. So unfortunately I don't have a die for this, as I only have UNF and this is UNC, so a coarse thread. So I'm just going to take my time and try and get this off in one piece. Worst case scenario, I can replace this whole piece, put the whole lot into the shop blaster if I have to, but if I can get it apart, I'd be able to tidy it up a little bit better. Nice and easy. I don't want to shear anything off here now, bend anything, so I'll make sure everything stays nice and straight coming off. Nice little part to fit. I don't know where these actually on the Ferguson 20 diesels. Again, if anyone knows, let me know in the comments. I actually had this fitted on my 20 diesel out in my home place, even though it was for TVO, and it worked perfect. The 20 diesel one's different, because you had a battery below it, two batteries, one each side, and they had to twist this quadrant lever upwards to get a bit more space for the battery. So you can see this is cleaning up the threads a bit. Still fairly stiff, but we're nearly off. Nearly there. Looks like I might just be able to salvage this part. I don't know, is this original? We'll get a look in a minute and see. Looks a bit loose fitting for my liking. So there we go. Captive square nut. And then I'll have a better look online and see, are these meant to be bent like that or straight? Or the main thing is, it looks like we've salvaged the part. I presume that is original, unless there would have been some form of a, seems very loose. Yes, I had this apart years ago. I mean, we're talking 25 years ago. I'm not sure. If I have to, I'll give this a quick run in the shop blaster just to tidy it up. That is basically what you're looking at there. And it looks to me as well that there's a track worn each side. Maybe it was had it kind of worn into a kind of a groove there. But there's another little one there as well, so that's broken off. I'd say there was, I don't know, am I right in saying there was, I don't think there was ever a big knob on them like the 35, but it might be a little bit harder to get this one off. But I think I'm going to give it a go, because there's nothing to lose. At the end of the day, it'll be perfectly functional. It's only a spare part. It'll be perfectly functional without it, but if I can even get that off, I'll be able to hopefully salvage the thread and then find something to fit onto that, even if it's just a wing nut or something, an imperial wing nut. But it's all these little details that just, when they piece together, they just make it a little bit more correct. So that's gone nice and loose there. So what I will do is I will definitely try and find a better fit of a washer than this. Maybe I'll look up the part online and see what is meant to be there. Is there rubber meant to be on it, or a rubber washer or something like that to help grip? So the next job will be to put this in the vise and then have a look at what I can put on that. It looks like an interesting shape. I'll have a look. I think I have an idea and I'll get back to you. This unfortunately wrong on me. I'm only left with a tiny little bit of thread. So what I'm after doing was, I'm after rethreading it with a 1/4 inch UNF. I picked out a nice little wing nut here, and I'm going to run a 1/4 inch UNF through this. You can see it's starting to cut its way there, and this will then hopefully make the part reusable again to some extent. I'm not sure what was on the end of it anyway. So now what I'm hoping is that will now fit on there as it does. It didn't at the start, and that is nearly going on the whole way. So this one is the first tap you use, and then when you have that used, you put in the finisher, the finishing touch. This should just finish the threads in it nicely, and that seems to be doing that. You cannot beat the feeling of nice new threads. Look at that. It's all nuts and bolts, that's all it is. So that is feeling lovely. And now we shall go on here nice and easy. Yeah, so that is one way out of this situation. The end of it is there somewhere, the end that broke off, but what I'm thinking now is I put this in the vise. Now we can pick out a nice washer. So I presume it goes on the inside like that, and there's plenty of room there for a washer, nice wide washer, because this is a little bit small of a wing nut. So a nice little washer behind that, and we'll see what we can make of it. Better washer to use than the came across the washer that was actually on it. So that's the one that's going to fit best onto there. So we'll reuse that. It would be a shame not to. Just focus a bit. And that now is, if you ask me, usable, serviceable. Might be on upside down, but that's easily sorted. So, 2 parts salvaged. The other part being this. I'm not sure about that washer. I have a feeling that that was put on by myself when I was a gossoon of about 12 or 13 years of age. So let's pick a better washer than that. And this washer here fits well and it has a bit of patina on it. Doesn't stand out too much. So I think this one went in behind, this went over it, and it was finished with this. Very long thread, that's the only thing I will say. You'd wonder if there's any need for all of that. And I'm not really sure what stops this from turning either. But regardless, it's definitely an original part. So there are 2 parts. So I think we'll go over to the 20 diesel and have a play around and see if we can get these to fit. I must buy a work light for this side of the shed because anything over here is just, the lighting is terrible bad. So because this tractor is fairly well painted, what I think I'm going to do is try and get these parts to fit. A bit of a dry run there at the moment, and what I'll do then is, if I'm happy with them, I'll shop blast them, and presume it's going on that way. I will shop blast them and paint them. So at least that way they're going to look right compared to the rest of the tractor. So that is that lad on in there. Shine the torch in a minute. And this lad, I presume, sits down here. Ah, now I see why it works. That's why it doesn't twist or spin on it. So every day is a school day, as they say, if you're willing to learn. So that's the way that is. Little bit awkward there, seam twisting. We'll hold that there, get it started, put back in the little nut. These never seem to have washers on them from new, actually. Now, where has this gone? Oh yeah. Some of these can be actually really hard to get on. It's like there's a slight stretch on some of them. That's going on there. So, tighten this up quickly. And just for the purposes of seeing how this works, I'm going to tighten them in. I presume it sits down here, something like that, and this comes down, maybe something like that. I presume it's something like that. I think I put rubber in behind that, so that's why it's very shaking around a bit. I presume that part would be your guide when you're coming down. If you were using draft control and you didn't want to plough to go too deep, or a harrow or a grubber, you'd set that lad up a bit and then you'd push this down to meet it, and that would be your new lowest point, we'll say, where your implement would be set at. So I didn't think I was going to gain any parts from that quadrant lever, being honest, because of the threads didn't look great. So that's sitting up the very top, and that meets it there. So that's good. That's put on the right way, and then this wide part there hits off that, and that stops that spinning. So the 20 diesels, after getting a nice little addition to it, with 2 nice original parts. I'm not 100% certain that they're for a 20 diesel. It could be from an earlier petrol or TVO, as I said, but they're definitely proper Ferguson parts, that's for sure, and they haven't been removed in a long time.